Welcome everyone to Bitwarden Vault Hours. My name is Casey and I am going to be one of your many co-hosts for Bitwarden Vault Hours. Some of these co-hosts from Bitwarden might be familiar faces. Very cool technology here. And then next, we actually have Kevin Harris on the call, who's going to give us an in-depth walkthrough of our new extension onboarding experience. So if you have any family, friends, coworkers who's looking to adopt Bitwarden, they're going to be experiencing this new onboarding experience and just make it a little bit easier to get used to the product. Next, we have an update to the inline autofill menu. We had a little teaser of this in our last Vault Hours, and we have some cool updates and an actual demo for you to see today. And then lastly, a nice Passkeys overview to give, a little refresher on how Passkeys work and what options are offered within Bitwarden. Per usual, we love these sessions to be interactive, right? So feel free to ask questions in the chat, put questions in the questions pane. We'll be answering them throughout. And if you have a more detailed question that you would like to add context to, just put in the chat that you would like to ask this question live, and we'll get you promoted up to the screen. You can just do audio if you'd like. No worries to, have anything on video, but we'd love to hear your questions live if you have them. And with that, let's see if there's any initial questions. Looks like the only question I see is about one of our hoodies, which is currently out of stock in the Bitwarden store. We're going to get that looked into for you, Bert, because, I love Bitwarden swag. I think everyone loves Bitwarden swag. And if you stick around to the end, too, we have a giveaway, per usual, to get some money towards the Bitwarden store. Let's see.
Yeah, it seems like
I don't
relatively
see any
quiet.
other questions.
Yeah, relatively quiet in the chat this morning. It's all right. It's the end of the month. I get it. 3-day weekend right around the corner for those of us here based in the U.S. So, yeah, it's all right. Everyone's in vacation mode already.
Oh, absolutely. Okay,
I
well,
think
great.
I'm first on the agenda, aren't I?
I think you
am.
are. Yeah, why don't
All
you
right.
kick it off?
I will. So I want to talk about SSO as trusted devices. I've talked about it here before at Vault Hours almost exactly a year ago, because that was when we announced it. But always good to rehash and just bring it up to the top for everyone. Just so we know, SSO as trusted devices is one of the ways that you can use single sign-on to log into Bitwarden. And this is a different SSO experience than some of the other solutions that we've had before, because it's a true passwordless experience. You really only need your SSO credentials. And what happens is that devices are specific devices are approved and trusted, and those devices will have access to the encryption key needed to log into Bitwarden. So if you remember, we're end-to-end encrypted. So the password, when you usually log into Bitwarden, is used for both authentication and then also used for decrypting the vault. So if you use SSO to get rid of that authentication part, you still need something that can do the encryption part, and that usually ends up being an issue with needing a have to master password. But now we have this single sign-on, so we're able to do with having the encryption key stored on the specific devices. So how does this work, and what does this mean? Well, accounts, if you do it right, if you send it through the email and you sign it through SSO through just-in-time provisioning, you can have accounts created without master passwords at all. So you could onboard new users into your organization without them ever having to remember a master password. You can add the master passwords to the accounts later. They can do it themselves, do it through the account recovery process, and then users will be able to self-approve their new devices through the mobile and the desktop apps. So if you're looking at starting a workflow where users are able to self-approve themselves from the start to finish, you would ask them to start in the mobile app so they can use the mobile app to approve other devices. Otherwise, as you see here in the screenshot, you can have request administrator approval and then also approve with master password if someone were to have the master password. All right, next slide, please. So why would you want to use SSO for Bitwarden? Well, a lot of businesses will think that, oh, well, we use our IDP and SSO. That is enough. Like, why do we need to have anything beyond SSO in terms of password management? Well, the reality is a good 2/3 of apps that businesses use on the day-to-day basis actually aren't protected by SSO, and that's because either they're not compatible, they're not set up, or they're legacy, as in they've been around for a long time. If anyone's ever worked in a large corporation like I have, there's some applications sticking around from the 80s that you still need to log into. So you can't always count on SSO for everything there. So on the next slide, you see if you start using SSO for Bitwarden, you get to essentially expand your SSO protection to every item in the vault. So it's a great way to add extra security through the authentication layer for users to these items that aren't SSO protected. All right, next slide, please. So Bitwarden, we have the most SSO flexibility of the major password managers. We have your primary login with SSO, which still requires a master password. So if you use something like this, you can use your IDP to set up very specific authentication rules and rule sets. So the IDP can do geolocating, for example, and then you can decide through the IDP whether or not to allow authentication. So that's one way. And then I told you before that you have to have some way to encrypt or decrypt the vault. That comes through the SSO with the master password. So you'll authenticate with the SSO, you enter the master password to decrypt the vault. SSO is trusted devices, which we just talked about. That's a passwordless way to get into Bitwarden. You just need to be logged into the IDP that provides the single sign-on service. And then you have the SSO with customer managed encryption, and we don't talk about this one very often because it's pretty advanced. It's self-host only. You have to use the key connector. But if someone is a self-hosting enterprise and they want to do this and keep everything on their own key server, you can reach out to support and get this set up. So we have 3 options for single sign-on, which is I think industry leading, and we are compatible with SAML 2.0 and OIDC, so both of the major flavors of protocols out there. And importantly, what this means to you is that you can just use your current IDP and choose how you want to SSO. So you don't even have to change your software stack around. Whatever you got, just plug Bitwarden into it and you're good to go. Any questions about single sign-on, SSO and all that? I know it's more of an enterprise feature, and we have a lot of individual premium fans here. All right, ready to move on.
All right. Thanks, Ryan, for sharing all about SSO. So my name is Kevin Harris. I'm the director of the product design team here at Bitwarden. And I think if there's something I've definitely learned a lot from our users is that they really love the product, but it can be a little challenging to get other folks to realize the value of Bitwarden and being able to, secure their passwords really easily. So we've been working on a project here to hopefully make that process a little bit easier for some new users that you might be trying to get on to Bitwarden. And for us, really, some of the goals we've had here are we want to really accelerate product adoption. So we want to get new Bitwarden customers up and running as quickly as possible. We know that learning new tools quickly is a goal for everyone when they're being introduced to something. So we're hoping that this experience helps speed that along. We want to make some key onboarding features even easier to find. So some of those getting started features like importing passwords or learning how to autofill, setting up unlock and making sure that you know how to download Bitwarden on your mobile device or how to access it via the desktop or the web are all there and very easily to discover for new users. And then we just wanted to strengthen some of the first impressions users get. We know a lot of our users have a lot of love for Bitwarden, and so we just wanted to lean into that a little bit more and make a really great first impression with those new customers. Let's go next. So I'm going to be giving a demo here of this new experience. And so to kind of frame up what I'm going to be showing, this is going to be for a new Bitwarden user who already has created their account. So maybe they've done this on the extension or on mobile or on web, but they've already got their account created. And now they're ready to kind of download and use that extension for the very first time. And I'm also going to be showing here a new visual design, which is coming soon. You're going to see this is going to look pretty different from what you're maybe used to in the product today. disclaimer, all the work is still in progress and subject to change, but we're pretty excited to be showing off some of the progress we're making. And then at the end of the demo, I'm gonna paste a link to a survey in the chat here. Your feedback is really, really important to us in helping understand how well we're doing. And so I'll be pasting that link to a very quick survey here once I'm finished. But let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Share my
Cool. Give us a
screen.
second as we shift around screen shares. But I
There
want to
we
emphasize,
go.
like you guys are getting a sneak peek of the extension and what that workflow looks like. So please, exercise this opportunity to share your feedback in that survey that
Let me just make sure my screen is sharing here.
Kevin
You guys are
shared.
able to see the web store, yeah? I'm going to assume that's a yes here. Yeah, Casey's giving me thumbs up. Awesome. All right. So, like I said, I'm a new user. I've just learned about Bitwarden. I've got my account created, and now I just want to go ahead and add the extension to my browser. So I'm going to click Add to Chrome here, and we'll click Add Extension. And the first thing that a user really needs to understand how to make the most out of the extension is to know how to pin the extension so that it's there and it's available for them all the time. And so now when you come from the web store, we've got a really great page here where users are able to see how to get Bitwarden pinned and able to kind of log in right away. And so this really helps users just understand the best way to have Bitwarden available in their browser. And now that my extension's pinned, I'm going to go ahead and pop open the extension. Like I said, you're seeing new design here for Bitwarden that's hopefully coming out very soon. And so I'll have some questions about this in the survey. But the first thing we wanted to do, as I mentioned, we really want to create a good first impression. So we've done a lot of work here to adjust some of the imagery that a user might see when they open the extension for the first time. And we really just wanted to introduce what makes Bitwarden so awesome. We talk about how you can save logins, cards, and identities into your vault. We talk about how you can use biometric to unlock Bitwarden really easily and autofill really easily to get into your accounts without really needing to type anything. We also talk about the generator and how the generator is a great feature of Bitwarden that allows you to make really unique and secure passwords that you don't actually have to memorize. And finally, we want to make sure we highlight that Bitwarden is not just available on the extension. You can get it on your phone, you can get it on desktop, you can get it in your browser, and really being able to use all your passwords across all your devices really when and where you need it. So as I mentioned, this user already has an account, so they don't need to create an account. They're just going to go ahead and log into Bitwarden. So I'll click login here and we'll see the login page. I'll type in my email address. I'll click continue. At this point, I'm going to enter my password in and I'm going to go ahead and log in with my master password. Now, once a user's in Bitwarden, especially if it's their first time, there's a chance they don't have anything in their vault. And one of the first things that I think we really wanted to highlight is that you can save yourself a lot of time by importing your existing passwords into Bitwarden. So we've got these blue banners that users can either close or act on as they kind of navigate around the product for the first time. So we kind of felt like one of the things that is really going to help you accelerate your use of Bitwarden is getting those passwords in from some of those other password management tools directly into your vault and starting to leverage a lot of that autofill functionality. A couple other things you'll notice here is you'll notice a red sort of badge here on the settings. There's a couple settings that we really feel like make the Bitwarden product just feel a lot better once they're set up and once they're enabled. I'll talk through these in just more of a minute, but we wanted to bring attention in a way that that highlighted users where they had some opportunities to set some things up in Bitwarden further. So I'm going to click the generator here. Again, we'll show the blue banner here and just talk about how the generator can help you generate those unique passwords and you don't need to remember them. Bitwarden will remember them for you. And finally, I'll show just some of the settings we're highlighting here. Over on settings, we're highlighting basically account security, autofill, and downloading Bitwarden on all your devices. Once a user clicks in here, they're going to see, again, some of the similar patterns here around setting up unlock to be able to quickly get into their vault and use autofill. We want to make sure we highlight turning off autofill in your browser so it doesn't conflict with Bitwarden's experience, and giving users really easy ways to set that up and do this. And then lastly, we just want to highlight how you can download Bitwarden on all your devices. We know we're a multi-device society, and so we have an experience here to use a QR code to go ahead and get Bitwarden set up on your mobile app, as well as understand how you could use Bitwarden from the desktop app. So that is all I wanted to show today, both the new onboarding experience and the visual design. Like I said, I'm going to send a link. I'm going to stop sharing. Let's go to the next slide, Casey, in the deck. Awesome. So I'm going to send a link here to this survey in the chat. It's a really short survey, but we would love to hear more from you about the experience you guys just saw. And this survey will help you be able to give us some feedback about what you saw. So that is it for me. I will pass it on to Casey.
Great, thank you. Really appreciate that walkthrough, Kevin. So another cool update that you can actually see now in your vault is an update to the inline autofill menu. If you remember back to our last Vault Hour session, we gave a little sneak preview of this, right? We talked about being able to autofill cards, identities, and passkeys from the inline autofill menu, and we showed some of these early concepts. Well, what's super exciting is that autofilling cards and identities from the inline autofill menu is now currently available. So I'm going to just do a really quick demo of what this looks like so you can start using it yourself. Beautiful. Okay, so this is just an example kind of, form that we typically use for testing. So first, let's go over to a typical credit card form, right? So you'll be filling this out typically whenever you are making online purchases, maybe door dashing something, whatever you really need to purchase online. And just by clicking into that form field, you now can see your cards that are available for autofill. So just click on that and it will automatically autofill into that credit card form. So that's very exciting. Similar, whenever you are ordering something, right, you always need to input your mailing address, maybe a contact information. I think this is pretty typical whenever navigating the online. And now you can just click into that form field and the Bitwarden extension will pop up the inline autofill menu, and you can select which identity you'd like to autofill. So it's really that simple. Nothing too crazy in terms of technical information, but it's a really, really helpful addition to the inline autofill menu for just usability and experience. So I'm going to stop sharing that and pop back over to the presentation. Unless there's any questions, we can jump on over to that Passkey overview. Okay, remember, we are here to, answer questions throughout. So please feel free to ask questions on anything that we're showing here today. Really appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Casey. Nasser here, Product and Developer Marketing at Bitwarden. So you've all probably been hearing a lot about passkeys, but really, what are they? So passkeys are a modern authentication method that provides a more secure and user-friendly way to log into your online services. And it really eliminates the need for users to remember and manage complex passwords. So how do they work, right? So passkeys work by leveraging public and private key cryptography, which provides a secure and seamless authentication process. So when you create a passkey for a service, a pair of cryptographic keys is generated. One is a public key and a private key. The private key is stored in your passkey vault service, such as Bitwarden, or your device's secure enclave. So this key remains with you and is really never shared or transmitted over the internet. The corresponding public key is stored on the website or service you wish to access. So it is intricately and absolutely tied to that service and to that service alone. Next slide. So a little bit more color on how the login process itself works with Passkeys. So when you attempt to log in, the service sends a challenge back, which is a random piece of data to your device. And then your device then uses the private key to sign this challenge that was sent, creating a unique signature. This signature is sent back to the service, which verifies it using your public key. If the signature, if and only if the signature is valid, you're granted access to that service. Again, this method ensures that even if the service is compromised, your private key and your account remain secure and it never really leaves your device. So quickly, what are some of the key features and benefits of passkeys? One of them is that they're impossible to guess because they're really based off of strong cryptographic principles, rather than relying on predictable patterns or user-generated information like traditional passwords. Passkeys are also different for each site, as I mentioned earlier. Basically, you have unique key pairs. Each site gets its own unique public private key pair for authentication. And then there's this concept of origin binding, right? Passkeys are really tied to the specific domain of that specific site. And then there's this concept of no reuse, right? Passkeys are not reused across different sites, ensuring there's site specific security. And of course, it goes without saying that there is no need to depend on your memory. So you can rely on biometrics to sign into a service, and in the background, your passkey authenticates you into that service. There's this notion of asymmetrical encryption. So basically, your passkeys leverage this concept of asymmetrical encryption with the private key that remains on your device or your vault, and the public key shared with that site, really eliminating shared secrets. And finally, passkeys are phishing resistant. I don't believe there have been any records of passkeys getting phished, because they're really bound to a specific domain of that website, as I mentioned earlier, and their use of asymmetric encryption, as we touched on. So let's take a quick look at how Bitwarden supports passkeys. Next slide, Casey. So there are various ways in which Bitwarden supports passkeys. You can use passkeys as a 2FA mechanism to verify your Bitwarden login. Basically, you could have your master password and passkey and a passkey in order to log in and decrypt your vault. Next, you could manage your passkeys from your vault, so basically creating and storing all your passkeys within Bitwarden. And then thirdly, developers can also use the passwordless.dev SDK and APIs to build their own custom passkey login workflows into their services. And finally, login. Users can use passkeys as a primary login to decrypt their vault. So this is really an alternative to using your master password or SSO with trusted devices. So next slide. Casey. So really, if you want to like check a list of growing services that support login via passkeys, you can check out this index over here, passkeyindex.io, which is this community-powered initiative backed by Bitwarden. Lists an ever-growing number of sites and services, cloud services that support passkeys, and I heavily urge you to try out passkeys. I think they're super. Thanks, and if there's any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat.
Yeah, thank you, Nasser. So looks like there isn't any questions yet about passkeys, but feel free to populate them if you have them. Oh, looks like we actually did get one. So it looks like Nasser, to the NFA, MFA part, right? So multi-factor authentication. On Reddit, there was a discussion about the 2FA passkeys. Oh, so this is not a question, but just some
It's
more
a
context. That's my bad. Um, but a little bit more information about the differences between MFA and 2FA and how passkeys are used there. So different kinds of
Hey,
encryption
can
methods.
you hear me from the wing? Can you hear me from the wing over here?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. All right. Yeah. So, Daniel, there has been discussion internally about this, and we are looking at modifying the description. It's perhaps we WebAuthn, FIDO2 keys or anything of that nature is perhaps not the most user friendly information, but the team is looking at how to update that in a way that makes sense for everyone.
Daniel, I hope you heard Ryan's answer. Please note in the chat if you didn't. He's currently in the wing, so I'm not quite sure if that. Great, beautiful, thank you. I'm glad that got clarified. We also saw a question from Danny about wanting to see a little bit more about that marketing page that Kevin showed for the browser extension. I don't know if you saw that, Kevin, but specifically wanting to see a little bit more about the new banners and then pinning the extension part. Would you be able to reshare that?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Beautiful. Okay, well then I'm going to stop sharing my slides. That way you can take over the presentation.
Awesome. Yeah, this page is also work in progress here, but basically the way this works is as soon as you install the extension, users get redirected to this page on Bitwarden. And so this is an animation that plays. It's just not going to play here because this is just a screenshot. But we basically have how to do it here. So we talk about pinning the browser extension for easy access. So using the extension menu, selecting the pin button, and then adding Bitwarden to the browser, and then just starting to actually log in. So how you can click on the extension, log in, and then finally start to get some stuff set up where you can start to, again, I showed some of those banners in the product of where you can start to import those saved logins and start to really utilize the extension. Did this cover it, Danny, or did you want me to go further?
Let's see if he'll respond in the chat. We'll give him a minute.
Great.
Beautiful. Great. Well, then thank you, Kevin, for resharing that. I'm personally
Sure.
very excited to see it as I try and convert some more of my friends and family members over to Bitwarden. Great. So as we've covered a little bit more about product development, I'd also love to share a little bit about Bitwarden in the news, right? What's going on? What is the news outlets saying about Bitwarden, and where have we been kind of pulled into other broader cybersecurity stories? Great. So first of all, we already touched on this, right? But we, highlighted in the news about this update to the inline autofill and how it makes it so much easier to start paying for things online and doing like web checkout processes. So if you're interested in this, a little bit more about our thoughts behind it, some of the benefits for this particular edition, I'd recommend, checking out any of our resources on the topic. Next, CNBC picked Bitwarden as one of the best password managers of September 2024, so Q3, and unfortunately, per usual, we're usually picked out as one of the best free users out there. I think this is primarily because we are one of the only password managers out there that offers a fully featured free version. And so a lot of people who are looking for a free version will gravitate towards us. But that doesn't mean that we're not also the best for business users or premium users, as a lot of the power users on this call is very much aware. But still cool that we got picked out from CNBC. They also actually interviewed Gary Ornstein, our CCO. If any of the people on the call have been longtime Vault Hour attendees, you remember Gary as our primary host in the past. He still pops on every once in a while, but a little bit less involved in these Vault Hours. But he got interviewed by CNBC about this concept of military grade cybersecurity and how particularly people can really like kind of throw a wrench in this concept of really robust cybersecurity and how it's really important to manage personnel access and employee access, and make sure to actually educate those employees on the importance of cybersecurity. So really cool things he has to say here, particularly on this topic. Next, we got pulled into a kind of roundup by TechCrunch about open source tools that are particularly used to boost productivity. I can almost guarantee most of the people on today's call are huge fans of open source, probably one of the reasons why you were gravitated towards Bitwarden in the first place. So if you're interested in other open source solutions that are out there that will help boost your productivity at work, I recommend checking out this article. I found a couple other solutions that I haven't heard of before that I'm definitely going to be checking out. Next, Bitwarden was also included in a roundup from Wired, specifically about some of the 30 best Mac apps that will make your life easier. So if there's any Apple users out here in today's call, I'd recommend checking this out. There is a really nice roundup of a couple different Mac applications to check out. They called out Bitwarden as their favorite password manager. We are very honored for that. And highlighting how we're open source and also fully featured free versions. And then lastly, we saw a article in CDNet from one of our favorite writers, Jack Wallen, about the 5 Bitwarden features that make Bitwarden his favorite password manager. I was a little bit surprised about some of these. Some of these features aren't my personal favorites, but it was really cool to see his perspective on why he loves them, right? So he kind of goes through folders, passkey login, right? We heard about that a little bit earlier, and the passkey overview that Nasser did. Bitwarden send, people use that all the time. That's definitely one of my favorites. He also talks about password generator, and then approving login requests as well. So if you want to learn a little bit more, check that out. But it was really cool. One of my personal Bitwarden features that makes it my favorite password manager is keyboard shortcuts for autofill. I don't know if anyone else on this call uses that, but that is a huge bonus in my day-to-day life. So that was some of the instances of Bitwarden in the news. So we're going to move on to the blog, which has some of these similar topics, but instead is published by the Bitwarden team and has a little bit more technical information.
Thanks, Casey. So jumping into blogs, the first blog we have here, these are some that were written in August. The first one discusses how Bitwarden brings value to your business by significantly reducing risks associated with weak passwords, which are a common cause of some of these data breaches we're seeing today. It really highlights how Bitwarden boosts productivity with features like secure sharing, autofill, and making team workflows really more efficient. The blog also emphasizes the ease of onboarding new users through seamless integration with your existing systems, and really underscores the cost effectiveness of Bitwarden overall. So if you want to offer strong security to your users without having to pay that hefty systems, so this blog highlights that both need this secure management, but differ in how the stored data they have is used. So a secret manager is crucial for securely handling the secrets we touched on earlier, like API keys and the like, preventing any unauthorized access, and really maintaining overall security within the applications and services. So I implore you to take a look at this if you are looking or considering a secrets manager versus a password manager, or both within your organization. Next slide.
Help Center article for all the details, anything you might want to know about it. And then I also wanted to give a little bit of a call out. Again, this is more of an enterprise feature, but it goes back to that earlier conversation we had. And if your organization is thinking about implementing single sign-on with trusted devices, but you're not sure yet, you might want to switch back to master password encryption. We have improved the process to switch between the two. So do check that out if that's something where maybe you're still in the early stages. That's a really nice improvement to the flow and just makes the process easier on your admin team. If you want to keep informed on all of the latest, please feel free to sign up for our release announcements. So these articles, as well as others, do get posted every time we make an update. So sign up and you'll be kept in the loop. Going to move on then to our learning center. So I picked two different videos that I wanted to highlight. So the first one here is our individual and organization vaults. So whether you are just a free user and you want to know when should I store things in my individual vault versus my two-person organization, or if you've got a families account, or if you're taking a look at this from an enterprise perspective, it kind of tells you why you want to store something in one place versus the other. The primary reason there is sharing versus not sharing, and some considerations you might want to take into effect and take into account. That was the word I was looking for. The second one I wanted to call out was Vault timeout options. So just like you've got your desktop lock on your laptop, or maybe you've got a timeout on your phone, you can also set the timeout options for your Bitwarden Vault. Now, this can be on an individual basis, so setting this up for yourself, or if you are an admin with an enterprise org, you can actually set it up for your whole team or company. So that way, everybody's following your company's policies and making sure that they're keeping that vault a little bit more secure. All right, moving on to community. So I always want to really recommend people to check out our Bitwarden community. So we've got a huge variety of users, everyone from casual users, power users who like to self-host, developers, whether they're interested in our Secrets Manager product, or even us, as I believe everybody actually on this call has participated in our community at one point or the other. Yes, Ryan is very active. I did want to call out, and I'll actually drop one thread in the chat here. So just as an example of how much good conversation can happen, we had a really great thread on Reddit recently around why you should use random words in a passphrase as opposed to ones that you choose for yourself. So I recommend take a look at that. It was a really great conversation with some good engagement. So that's the kind of things that you can expect from our community, and please check it out. And then some other ways to get involved. So obviously, you can attend an event like this one you have right here. So I skipped a little bit to the end there. But as an open source product, you can contribute to our code on GitHub if that's something you feel that you can help with. Maybe you're a developer yourself, or you're just good at helping troubleshoot different things. If you speak multiple languages, we use Crowdin for our localization. So you can help us make sure that not only are our products available in your all of your languages, but that those translations are accurate and complete. And then obviously our various community forums. So our official community.bitwarden.com is where you can submit feature requests if there's something that you want to see, but we don't offer yet today. You can ask questions, join our beta programs, and you can also participate in user research. So we definitely really value your opinions. So I would encourage you, again, not just Reddit, our internal community as well, to check that out, and we'd love to hear from you. All right. And similar to that last one, if maybe you can't contribute code, come join us, be a part of the team. We've got a ton of open roles right now that you can see at bitwarden.com/careers. And even if there isn't something specific that you feel you'd be a good fit for, there's also a general interest form that you're welcome to fill out and kind of start that conversation with our recruitment team. All right, I believe this is the last one, at least for me. So we've got our upcoming events, our product deep dive, which happens every Wednesday, formerly called the weekly demo, if you are familiar with that terminology before. We've also got our secrets manager demo coming up. So that's going to be every other Tuesday at noon. Our MSP demo, so if you're a service provider or you know anyone who is, we do have a demo that is specific for our partners. And that next one's coming up on the 12th. And then lastly, and this one I really want to highlight, is our Open Source Security Summit. So we've got a great lineup of presenters. It's completely free. And it's a great way for not only you to see what's going on in the open source security space, but again, another opportunity to interact with not only Bitwarden experts, but experts in open source in general. So highly recommend checking it out, taking the time to attend or watch the replay afterwards.
Thank you, Sai. Yeah, just kind of emphasizing the Open Source Security Summit. We always have a really amazing lineup of speakers. We'll probably maybe we should put in the chat that link as well so people can take a look.
Yeah.
But even just last year, we had Kevin Mitnick come and join and do a speech for us, and it was really, truly, what's the word that I'm looking for? Eye-opening, right? A very cool kind of seeing his perspective on white hat hacking and all the other world experiences he's had. So definitely recommend coming to the Open Source Security Summit. Like we said, it's completely free. We do this for our community to kind of get back to you guys. Great. One more thing, speaking of giving back, as you might know, we always end these sessions with a Bitwarden store giveaway. So you would be, getting, credit towards the store to win any of this cool swag. Hopefully the zip-up sweater that you're looking for, Bert, will be available soon, but you can also choose from all this other cool swag. And to do so, you're just going to go to bitwarden.com/shop, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and then fill out that contact form. Just noting in the comment that you heard about the giveaway during Vault Hours 43. This month's Vault Hours is 43, so just remember that. And then you'll be entered in to possibly win some cool Bitwarden store swag. So may, the odds ever be in your favor in that aspect. But other than that, we have come to the end of today's session. Before we close out, I just want to open the floor for any other questions, comments, general thoughts. We love to interact with our community. So please put them in the chat, put them in the questions pane. We'll make sure to get those answered before any of our colleagues log off.
I think we have some. I think we've got some news about the new apps that are coming out here soon. Nasser, did you want to give a timeline?
Yeah, sure. I can just give you a rough estimate that iOS apps should be available. The new iOS native app should be available in the App Store next week, Tuesday, I believe. So that's pretty exciting. The Android one's going to come, still going through some testing, so it might take a little longer, maybe 3 to 4 weeks after that. I can't give a definitive timeline, but it could be shortly after that. So we're super excited about this. Obviously, the native apps perform much better, much more responsive, and they are in beta testing right now. So if you've already tried them out, we've been hearing some really good stuff about them. So yeah, we're super excited about it.
Thanks, Nasser.
Yeah, thank you for that update. Cool. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions come through, so maybe, Ryan, we can put on some music and we can stick around and answer questions as they come.
You got it. I'll be on. Yeah, I'll just start some music going here.